Yeah, I had a few proposals to get out this morning, so got those out, and there we go.
I love
Yeah,
it.
so I've been working on the weekends. Try not to too much, but a couple hours here and there.
Okay.
Dude, those shades, dude. Those shades
Oh
are.
yeah, I love these.
I mean,
Just
that's a good look.
some MLB, they were just always rocking those dope shades. And I'm like, man, they look pretty fresh. I'm gonna get a pair. Not really, but like where I see the shortstop who plays for like the Padres or something is always just swagged out, or the Astros. I don't even remember the guy, but
Dude, baseball players are they get swagged out for sure.
yeah. So it's like,
They're,
ooh, you know, I'm gonna get some of those shades for when I do like athletic stuff outside. I don't always want
yeah.
to be rocking like aviators or whatnot.
Dude, I need to get a pair. And Ash and I were talking this morning about trying to do like another marathon. So she kind of wants to do a half
Yeah,
marathon. So need to get back into running, but I need to get some cool shades. That
yeah.
way I can run faster.
The wind just
Yeah,
cuts
aerodynamics, dude.
through. Duh. Yeah. I got these
I
on
mean,
Amazon for like 20 something bucks, so they won't.
I mean, I
Yeah, I'll
think
do another pair.
I think I should get a top hat, like a real one, huh?
I mean, you look good, and that could be your whole like business thing. You're always rocking a top hat.
And like the long like suit coats, you know, the
Yeah,
flaps in the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah. Get
Yeah,
some flaps going.
yeah. Although it's fucking hot, dude. It's fucking hot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How's my audio sound?
Good. Mine. You sound great.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. Yeah, no, it's just I've got hooked up to like a speaker,
Yeah.
like a different speaker, so I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like echoing or anything.
No, it sounds good.
You know what movie I just watched? And it's crazy that I feel like I just watched it. Like
What?
Miami Vice with Jamie Foxx and Colin
Oh,
Farrell.
yeah.
I think it's Colin Farrell. I literally just finished watching that. It's a great movie.
Yes, I remember I went to that in theaters with my dad and Brandon, and I
Yeah?
think I fell asleep for like a little bit of it, or I was not enough to be honest. But then I've seen it a few times since then.
Yeah, first time. It's great.
But
It's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
And then SWAT popped up, so like I'll probably watch that next.
Oh,
It's
SWAT.
great.
I remember I was a big fan of that. That's Colin Farrell and Terrence Howard.
Yep. I think so. I think it is Terrence Howard.
Yeah, the guy like puts the 1 million bucks up to get him out. Yeah. I need to see that again. That movie
And
was-
I watched Burn After Reading too.
I still
Like I
haven't
don't know
seen
why all
that.
these
I've never seen that movie.
Brad Pitt's great in it.
Yeah,
It's a really quirky like it's a good movie though. It's a good movie, but it's fucking weird. It's like a weird comedy.
yeah, 'cause that's the Coen brothers, isn't it?
I have no idea.
I
I'm
think
not good with
I
I'm
think
not good with movie facts
oh,
or like
fair.
actors, you know? Like I like what I like and that's about it.
No, fair. I always like to look up who's writing, directing, acting. Katrina's
All
good
right.
for that too.
So it's LL Cool J.
Oh, okay, okay, not okay.
Yeah, better than
Yeah,
Terrence Howard.
yeah, like, perfect.
Samuel L. Jackson, Michelle Rodriguez, Jeremy Renner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Little young
it's a
Renner.
great movie.
Little Michelle
Yeah.
Rodriguez, early 2000, hottest girl in the world.
2003, dude. This was her peak. She was
Oh,
peaking.
buddy, it's so good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, Devil in a Blue Dress. That's old Denzel.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Anyways, so Dude, what's hard about conspiracies is when they start to become like when it's true. So then it's like, is it a conspiracy?
Oh,
Oh,
whoa, whoa,
how's
whoa!
the new laptop, dude?
Oh, it's tight. I'm really enjoying it. Like everything works so well. It's silent. It's got big speakers. The picture's amazing.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
yeah, and then I got the old one too, so I'm doing dual lots of times.
There
Little
you go.
yeah, and I'm using the new one mostly for editing too. So I'm still like
Sure.
looking the email and surfing the web and stuff out of the old one. But it is nice. Yeah, the whole conspiracy thing. It does get real weird when it's like, huh, this is a conspiracy, but I feel like it's playing out and it's happening, and we're all just seeing it happen.
Yeah, like there's a fun. Damn.
What? Say that one more time? Yes. What?
All right, I was. Could you hear that? I was trying to. I didn't mean for it to play, but this is this is this is the one I found. Michelle Obama is a man.
Oh,
How wild is it? Have
yeah,
you
Big
heard this
Bob
one?
or something.
Huh?
Big Bob or something. It's like his name. I've heard that one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that one was super funny. That's one of those like it's a conspiracy, I guess, but I just think it's funny to
Right, same. It's like, huh, well, I feel like there's
yeah.
pictures of her pregnant.
Yeah. That but I haven't seen a bare belly, you know?
Oh yeah, true, true, true. Yeah, there's no
And then
bear.
it's funny because you know how like sometimes like when you're wearing pants and then like your zipper makes it look like your dick's sticking out or something, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
But it's like it's just your zipper. So I
Mm-hmm.
saw a video the other day and it was her like walking or dancing or something and it looked like that. And it was just this guy like it would cut back to the guy and he's like making different faces, right? He's like, oh, did you see that? And then they would like circle in and zoom in on it. Stupid. But that one's kind of funny. I thought that was a funny one. Most of mine then get like kind of dark, you know.
I mean, yeah, fair. Yeah, I
Like
kind
it
of.
goes. So I didn't know if what you had, and if we want to kind of like how we want to piecemeal it in there.
Just have the average like JFK UFOs, Epstein, Trump, what's going on right now. But those are mostly more just like the quick hits.
Oh, it's weird. So like the UFO one, I feel like that's a fun one. But I mean, do you believe in aliens?
Mm-hmm.
I do too. So like I don't really know. We could go into it, I guess, but like they could just people could
Or
just listen to a Joe Rogan podcast on
yeah,
UFOs.
let's just say why do you believe in aliens? Quick, I'll ask you that.
I mean, just from the sheer fact of like we cannot be the only like beings in the whole universe, I guess. But then
Yep.
like how big is the universe actually? Like I don't know.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I'm just like, if there's essentially infinite this galaxy, if there's no way that we could be the only thing that's
If you believe in
right.
space, you have to believe that there's aliens, right?
Oh, that's a good take. I'd say so. I'd say
But
so.
then there's also a theory I heard that Earth is actually gotten sucked into a black hole and we're just like waiting like we're in a black hole. We're not in like a galaxy or universe or anything. Like there's just we're already done. I didn't go down that rabbit hole yet, but that's one that I want to kind of circle back to.
Ooh, I like that. And if we were in a black hole, but we could see stuff, the black hole's just so big that we can't
It's yeah,
see the
like
end.
we can't
Like,
even
you know what I
fathom.
mean? I can't see the boundaries.
Right, and like we don't know, so like we're not actually able to access most of the universe because we're just only able to see whatever's in this black hole that's other stuff around that's been sucked into it, right?
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I like I like that. That's interesting. That's
So
interesting.
I thought that one was kind of good. Some of these were like it's hard to find the time to like really dive into these, right?
Yeah,
To like explain it.
yeah, yeah. If you have like a job and a life and a kid and hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
is China trying to secretly take over the U.S. and make us dumb? Because
No. No. Here's why. Here's why. There, it's not just China. It is. So you ever wonder why, like, you watch the news and they'll say like, Putin gets along so much better with Biden and whatever. It's like, yeah, because Biden gives him no resistance to like their whole agenda, right?
hmm.
So if you believe, which I do, in like this world government, like there's one world organization, right? Kind of like the Illuminati, but like it's up there. And so you've got US people, you've got Russia people, you have these big countries and the top leaders are part of this world organization, right? And it boils down to is China taking over? No, we're playing right along with China, right? We're running our country into a communist country, which, if you look at the other big communist countries, China, Russia, like the Soviet Union, right? Like
Hmm.
they're trying to make all of us weaker, dumber, sicker, fatter, all of that stuff, right? So that they can control us. They control with fear, the virus and all of that. Like it's all a collective effort from the top,
Hmm.
right? And you look at, I mean, this goes, you spiral, right? Hunter Biden, if you follow any of that sort of stuff, Hunter Biden's laptop and like known conversations and business dealings with China where the Biden family was involved in these back end deals. There's absolutely no reason why we should be giving that much money to Ukraine. Like, there's no reason. Like, it's not going anywhere other than to the higher ups in Ukraine. We're funding this war machine, right? It's you've got we're paying what was the stat? It was like anywhere from 40 to 80 million dollars a week or something is going to the Taliban and not to the actual like Afghanistan
Oh,
people,
like
and we
who
just
it's
like
supposed to
pulled
go
over
to?
and left. It's none of these moves have any benefit to like the people of the US.
Hmm.
So in a way, yes, China is, but I think it's a collective effort of a group, like a select few at the top. Does that make sense?
I also wonder, like, why is there such a push on social media if there is bots that are Russia and Chinese that are pushing the ideas that it's good not to exercise, that are making men and women and just pinning everyone against each other,
Yeah.
making people just riled up about stuff and just kind of dumb. Like, did you
That's
know
what they
that
do.
China's TikTok is different than the US algorithms? Like theirs is focused for like art and things, and art is
Yeah.
just like nonsense and dancing
Yeah.
and just stupid shit.
It's our government allows it, and then they always blame like China, but then as soon as they say, "Hey, TikTok's got to be banned," right? And it's got to be owned by it's either got to be banned or a US company's got to own it. Well, then you look at these top politicians are like, I'm putting a group together to buy TikTok, and it's like, what? That doesn't seem right. You know what I mean?
Like,
It's like, oh, so you can push your agenda on us instead of China, I guess. You know what I
mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
None of it makes any sense. And they're allowing China. Man, I wish I had this map pulled up. China owns a shit ton of land in the U.S., like Chinese business people do, and they're all near our nuclear warhead sites and major like military bases.
Yeah, I have it written down. Yeah,
How does that make any sense?
yeah, and they make a lot of our medicine.
We don't make shit.
Eh, Yeah, yeah, we don't make anything. Just this country that we're not allies with. You know what? You just make it. It's fine. But
Well, we're
yeah,
not
that's
supposed to be allies, but I think there are people
well,
that are
they're
allies.
not. They're not allies, but people that we're not friends with. But we're like, oh yeah, make our medicine. That's a
Yeah.
very, that's a very strange one. I heard that, and then I've been thinking about that. Like, oh yeah, that is very weird.
Yeah. Dude, it gets. I mean, I wish I had more. This is the problem, and this is what they know, right? And this is why when they go towards the news, it's all like fear based, right? So
Hmm.
the news is all fear based or bashing the other side, right? For the longest time, they was saying like Trump was colluding with Russia, right? And you had this, I can't remember the guy's name. His last name was Steele. They called it the Steele dossier, right? So it was supposed to be all this evidence that Trump was colluding with Russia. All of that came out as false. And then it was proven that Hillary Clinton paid for this guy to write false allegations and put it in a report. And she barely got in trouble at all. And she's still like running things.
Yeah, there's stuff that's just like, huh, like this is just doesn't make sense, and people know it, and they just don't address it or really do anything.
Yeah. Well, and we make decisions. This is what's so frustrating. We make so many decisions as a country, supposedly as a country, and we get so involved in other countries like issues. And
Yeah.
then after the fact, it always comes out that the people there were like, yeah, we didn't want any of this. Like we didn't want, most people are like we don't want your help. Well, it turns out in Afghanistan, like the people actually did want our help, and then we just said, actually, we're done, we're out. We literally just dropped everything, pulled everybody out,
Yeah.
and
I
now we're
should.
just sending over a bunch of money that all goes to the Taliban. And then, dude, I mean, if you watch the Sean Ryan show, he had on this lady who's like a CIA asset targeter or whatever, something
Hmm.
like that. But I mean, it's confusing as fuck to watch because they just rattle off names and go through this. But it's all tied together. You have like the Taliban, you have ISIS, you have five or six other like organizations and stuff in there. And so she talks about kind of their agendas and how they set stuff up and how they're flooding people in through different countries through Mexico and then into the US now because we have all these open borders. And they're like, it's terrifying to think how many of these people, like sleeper cell organizations, are in the US just waiting.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
And we have a very incapable leadership for the country right now, right? It's We've got Russia who's planting new submarines and warships 100 miles from our border.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about that.
You haven't heard anything? Oh, this is recent, dude. We're fucking like close. That we're back to Cold War again. And there's a theory that the Cold War never stopped. Like it was just kind of put on pause. Like we've still been battling this whole like Cold
Oh,
War situation. Yeah.
Like they're like, so what happened with that? What's going on there with the
Well, apparently it's like training, and there are no nuclear warheads on these ships, but we can't verify anything.
Oh
Like, how are we going to verify that? And
yeah.
it's like, should we allow that? And it just takes like one person to push the button, and now we're going, you know? And it's because we got Russia all riled up with the whole Ukraine situation, which it's like, why are we even there? Like
Mhm.
we you could argue Russia. I'm not a war expert, but this is like stuff I've been trying to gather and understand more. It appears that Russia, whether you believe that they're right or not, has basically requested that NATO, which NATO was put in place as an alliance of these countries to fight against the Soviet Union, right?
Mhm.
The Soviet Union has been gone forever, so there's really no point to have NATO anymore. Which is NATO is basically just US funding money to like other countries. And so Russia basically said, "Hey, don't like move your NATO bases away from our border. Like we want some buffer space in there, right? So that you guys just can't start coming into our country, right? And it gives us a little space so we don't have to worry about the security." It'd be basically like if China just set up a shit ton of military bases right on the Mexico border. I mean, that's going to make
Oh,
you pretty nervous. You know what I
no.
mean?
Mhm.
So I understand where Russia's like, hey, do this. And we just said, sure, yeah, we'll do that. This was part of some treaty pact back in the day or whatever. And then we just never did. We said, fuck you. We're just going to keep these bases here. And it's my opinion that basically this upper government agenda was like, we need another war. We need a bigger war. Let's instigate this with Russia a little bit. And Russia probably saw an opportunity with weak leadership to make a move.
Yeah, yeah,
And then we're in it, you know? And
yeah.
now we're sending a shit ton of money over there and nobody knows where it's going.
The amount of money that they're sending over is so crazy. And then I'm sure you've seen all like the graphs and videos of things that they could have spent here to solve like some issues with like homelessness or like the fires in Hawaii and just
Dude,
that
the fires in Hawaii got nothing. They were like, yeah, fuck your island.
kind of yeah.
Yeah, they got no support, dude. Like the citizens there got what, $700 check one time. We're giving illegal immigrants more money to come across the border. That makes no sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just stuff like that is where you just start thinking like, who would want this?
And then they divide us on race, right?
Right.
They're like white people like you should be ashamed to be white and like, we need to support the black people because they can't help themselves.
No.
So we need to support them. And then but at the same time, we're also going to let a bunch of illegal immigrants in, and then in Chicago, you guys don't your schools suck anyways, so we're just going to close your schools down and we'll let illegal migrants live in your schools so your inner city kids just don't go to school anymore and they have nowhere else to go. Did you hear that?
Mm-mm.
That's been They were shutting down schools in Chicago,
Mm.
like high schools, middle schools, and making them like shelters for illegal migrants. New York might have been doing the same thing.
I mean, I've heard that with like hotels and stuff, but
Yeah,
I you know
no,
that
fucking
was school.
schools, dude, schools. This is fucking maddening. And if people would just like, it's hard. I get it, because like it takes a lot of time and it's not always enjoyable. Like to listen to these podcasts about guys presenting like reasonable information about how fucked we are, and it feels like you can't really do anything about it. But I try my best to like look at everything with an open mind, right?
Hmm.
And like and try to understand what's really going on and pay attention. But you can't just watch one news source and be like, "Yeah, I watch CNN and that's how I get my news." And it's like I just challenge you to like watch 3. Like if you're going to watch the news, watch a couple. Try to find some independent sources. Honestly, Twitter and podcasts are probably the best because you
Yeah.
can get such a wide array of opinions and news outlets, and like you don't have to deal with like the big
Yeah. Money
government.
and sponsorships. Have you watched any of Channel 5 News?
No.
Which used to be all gas, no brakes.
That's great. I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
watched it.
yeah. It's this guy who like goes to like San Francisco to like really bad areas, and he just does interviews with the people who are living there. And there's one that Katrina watched where he goes into the tunnels, some underneath Las Vegas, where everyone's like addicted to like, whatever, and like they live down there, and
Yeah.
that kind of crazy shit. And then he went down to the border and just stuff like that. But it's so interesting and it's so crazy, and you would really enjoy it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's all on YouTube.
Channel 5 News.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah, dude, it's things like that where it's like if you really get a pulse on America, I mean, you're getting more and more black celebrities, and I'm seeing more and more videos of black people that are supporting Trump. And it's like at this point, you don't necessarily have to like Trump, I guess, as a person. Like I probably would be friends with him. He's super successful, so like that'd be cool, but I'm not really trying to be friends with him, I guess. I just want a competent leader, and at this point, if they're only giving us 2 options, like who in their right mind could say what's going on right now is better than what we had 4 years ago?
Right.
Like
Yeah, you really
it
can't. Like
it's
even if you don't want to say it.
if you just boil it down to that, how the fuck could you vote for Biden? And be like, I want more of this. And you know what? It's his second term, so he could really just do whatever the fuck he wants because he's not trying to get reelected.
Yeah,
And we all
and
know that it's not him, but which is scarier. I heard they're gonna push Michelle Obama in there.
really,
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's
when?
another theory, huh?
Like for like before this one or 20?
I think, I mean, they're kind of getting close to the wire, but I think if they, well, one, I think they're scared, which is why they're trying to get Trump in prison because that'll make it easier for them. But I think they're eventually going to have to concede that Joe Biden's no longer fit to run. I mean, if he's no long, he can't. He is not fit. They declared him not fit to stand trial in federal investigations.
Yeah,
And but yet he's fit enough to run as president. It makes no sense. How the fuck is that possible?
yeah, and I almost feel like there's a conspiracy to have like Trump is president for a little bit to make some moves, and then have Biden so they can just kind of manipulate his age and do all this shit. So they know they'll be able to go back to Trump to do this again, or to do like just, or to have Trump, who's also just a wild card. It,
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, the problem is like what Trump needs to do if he was to get in is to, like he would have to go so far the other way that I just can't even imagine what the media is going to say. Like he can't just go from wide open borders to like, all right, let's start toning it down. Like he's just going to shut them down,
yeah,
right? And like that's going to be a major push. And then you're going to have all these then they're going to spin it again like he hates people. And I mean, it's never going to stop as far as federal indictments and all that kind of stuff. Like
Or
that's not going to stop against him.
yeah, or I think it's almost a conspiracy that these two are options. Like I feel like someone wants it to be these two
Aliens.
people who both.
Aliens. There's another theory that aliens created us, and this is actually like we've just gone through a history of like multiple times. Like they're just trying to like they're running basically like simulations on us to like learn, right? And they're letting us kind of kill ourselves and then they start it over again. I've heard that one. That's kind of out there.
Yeah,
But
the stipulation alien ones. I just
the
watched.
problem is like who in their right mind would want to be a politician?
Someone who loves power and someone who is really really good at the stock market somehow. Or,
I mean, you look
or
at Trump. He's the perfect like non-politician to run, right? He loves power. He's successful. He's super wealthy, so he can deal with a lot of the bullshit they throw at him, right? He's got a team of lawyers and PR people and like all of this, right?
mm-hmm.
That could kind of insulate him from it. But other than that, like you'd have to be insane to want to be a president.
Yeah, it's no. Yeah. I've thought about that a lot. Like, why would you want that job? It is so crazy.
So I think, like, I mean, everybody pretty much knows that Obama is running things right now still. Like, there's clips of him giving interviews saying if he could run the country from his basement and basically talk through somebody else, like, he would, right? Which is basically what's happening right now with Joe Biden, right? And the last election was rigged. Joe Biden should have never won it. Like I guess that's a conspiracy, but there's just more and more factual evidence that's been coming out that they manipulated all the polls. Like they just stopped polls. Trump was by far in the lead. They stopped him like late at night, right? And then in the morning, you're kind of like, all right, I think Trump's probably going to get reelected again, you know? And then you wake up in the morning and it's like Biden won by a lot and had the majority of votes. And it's like, and when you watch the campaign trail, Trump's going to all these countries or all these cities and states, and he's got hundreds of thousands of people that come to these rallies. Biden didn't campaign at all. He didn't go anywhere. He just sat in his basement. And the theory is that he didn't do any of that because they didn't want to show and give evidence that that nobody was supporting him and nobody was going out to his events.
Right.
Not to mention, like, they were also pushing, like, the COVID thing, too. So that probably helped him, right? They used it as a cover-up to allow them to manipulate polls and votes and get Biden elected. And so this goes all the way back, right, to our behind-the-scenes organization at the top, right? Just the couple of people way at the top that are trying to turn us into a communist country. And if you look at it, that's the route we're headed, right? You start by getting religion out of there, right? And then you start to like confuse people and you start to fear monger people and you make people dumber. You bombard them with processed foods, make them unhealthy. You're giving them medicines and vaccines that make them sicker. You're doing all of this stuff to weaken the people. If you weaken the people and you make people more reliant on the government, more government handouts, more taxes going to the government, but they'll provide these services for you. If people become solely reliant on the government, that basically becomes a socialist country, which is only one step below a communist country.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're almost there, and I just finished watching Agenda 1 and Agenda 2 again. So this is the second time I watched them. And the guy's pretty religious. Like he's a conservative, he's a politician that did them, but he did it in 2010, and then Agenda 2 came out in 2016. And it's super interesting to like go through those, listen to those. Like this was going on at the time, and it's like, man, that's just gotten way worse, right? And if you read books by Karl Marx and a lot of these, like how to create a communist country, basically, I mean, we're following it to the fucking letter. And this is not a Biden or Obama thing. Like this has been going on for since like the 50s and 60s has been like this big movement to get us there. Right? It's like the Taliban and a lot of these other, I think it's the Taliban, right? They are okay waiting. Like they wait. They've got this long-term plan in place, right? Like they're not looking to just cause terror, like just small little attacks all the time, right? They want the big event. They want something big. They're working towards something big. They'll sacrifice the little stuff. And that's what they're doing for this communist country agenda, right? Is it's a slow manipulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start to do things, and if you can get the kids involved, right? You start with the education system. You start manipulating kids there. You're trying to get kids to just become or I guess not self-reliant, right? You
Mm-hmm.
want them to have to rely on the systems and the government to help provide for them. You want them to just be busy worker bees, not free thinkers, not independent thinkers, right? And that's what you're trying to encourage. And so if you look at the messaging of a lot of these like schools and state mandates and a lot of this kind of stuff, it's like it does seem to be kind of where they're headed, you know? It seems like we're going that way.
Yeah,
And
and just sorry to interrupt, but even the way that people just are are close to almost asking for a social credit score. I feel like too.
yeah, I mean
The
we're
way
basically
people
there.
act with social and things, it's just oh, and
Yeah.
there's just like a movement to like all like dress the same even. I've seen some commercials where it's like, oh, you'll never find this shirt, and then like you just can find it. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's almost taking away from like individual, um, um individuality is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like there's been a push in the education system, and while I think some of it could be good, and me and Ash are wanting to have more conversations because she just had like a 4-day conference down in Denver, and like for education, and she was kind of like, overall it was good, but there's too much kind of like woke messaging going on,
Uh,
right? Like
yeah.
not none of this is really benefiting kids. It's like a woke agenda type stuff, and she's never been one to really like entertain my conspiracies. So maybe I'm like wearing her down, or I think she's kind of just like what a lot of the country is right now, and is a little bit like, all right, we're getting a little extreme, a little fast here. Like, I mean, the fact that you've got men swimming in college against women and like winning nationals is like, I mean, just common sense. It makes
Yeah.
I you don't have to like, I'm all for people doing what they're gonna do, but like we gotta have some boundaries in here in some
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
especially like I don't want my daughter to grow up and she's competing against men. Like genetically it's just totally different.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're
Early
born
on,
totally different.
we'll play each other in basketball someday.
Yeah. It's
Like that's dumb.
well,
Like
and then
it's
even that, and like, so like the Leah Thomas situation. God, what's this? The chick's name. So they basically like tied at nationals. This was in college. They tied at nationals, and they basically gave them each a trophy. But they told this other girl that the photos need to be of Leah Thomas holding the trophy. right? Like they were, all the messaging is Leah Thomas wins, right? And promoting this. And so, like, yeah, that's frustrating, right? But also, she was changing in the same locker room as Leah Thomas. Like,
Yeah.
you're in, people don't want to say that. Like, Leah Thomas's dick's just hanging out. What are we,
Yeah, it's
I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Is that your
yeah,
phone dinging?
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's me.
I just want to make sure it wasn't mine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that me.
dude, it's so. Anyways, so it's like this big, like big ploy, I think, and I don't know. That's my biggest conspiracy, and then there's all those other little like fingers off of it, right? Like China and the warmongering, and then like
Oh, like
big,
electric cars wanting everyone to switch over to EV. That big push for EV.
yeah,
So
they,
if you can just control
dude, it's not
everything.
even that. Your house, like they're banning gas stoves. Natural gas is one of like the cheapest, most efficient forms of energy we have right now.
Yeah,
And it's just like, well, they could just shut the grid down and like, all right, I guess we're fucked. And don't even get me started on nuclear. We should be having nuclear power plants all over this fucking country.
yeah. That's what I've heard. Is that they're just like the best and safest energy.
Yeah, and we're not even at the like peak efficiency. Like they're working on other methods to make them even more efficient and less waste. And it's like, why are we not doing this? It's insane.
Yeah.
Dude, you're getting me riled up, bud.
No, no, I like it because there's so many that I just think about. Let's see. Yeah, there's just.
It's,
Oh,
oh, another. So we can keep going on this like big government and like conspiracies. Like, the Trump election was rigged. Or the Trump election was rigged, but also his federal trial was rigged too. Like, they, so when they went and raided Mar-a-Lago, like they planted evidence. Like that's come out. Like they just planted documents in Mar-a-Lago. They put like known, so people that have like been prosecuted for committing perjury, like lying in prior testimonies and stuff, and just having really shady witnesses. Those were all in there. Not to mention like tainted judges and all sorts of stuff. It's it's just mind-boggling. The fact that that whole like his falsifying of documents probably just boils down to some like accounting errors or something, you know? And meanwhile, who got hurt from his like we're trying to ruin this guy, put him in prison for 120 years or whatever it is. How who got hurt from this at all?
right. Yeah, it's very. Yeah, that's the weird thing. Is
The
like.
bank, the bank got fucking paid. They're like, we don't want to prosecute. We want to do more deals with them. Like, you're going to ruin our chance of making money. So if the bank makes money, they can do other loans to other businesses, probably small businesses too, right? They can hire more people because they're making more money. The people they do employ can also get paid more money. And then from Trump's standpoint, Trump is employing probably hundreds of people, just him, like personally. And then they're employing subs on all these development projects, like for however many years. Think about how many families have made their living and become upgraded their lifestyle because of the risks and developments and all that stuff that Trump did, right? Like that's what people don't think about. You can think, oh, maybe he's a shady business deal guy or whatever. It's like, Yeah, but he still fucking built a lot of that area. He's done a ton of developments down in Florida, probably a bunch of stuff elsewhere. Like, he's employing people.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
giving people jobs. If he didn't develop shit, if nobody was developing because of fear of getting prosecuted for shitty allegations, and people with money and means just stop trying to build, where are we going? That's the problem with communist countries. Like, if there's no incentive for people to work, they're not gonna fucking work.
Dude, that's a whole other conspiracy thing too. Just like the whole push for people not wanting to work and work being like demonized and just
Oh,
feed into like the whole laziness, and then you'll eventually get to why can't they just give us money so we can just have time to do what we want,
yeah,
and then
and then those are the same people that go to a fucking restaurant and they bitch because no one's taking their order because the restaurant can't fucking staff anybody. And you're like, hello, maybe if you worked and then got your friends to work, maybe one of you guys goes to work as a server at a nice restaurant. And then now more people are having better experiences. It's the same reason why, like, when people fear a recession, we generally go into a recession. Right. And so when the media starts like pushing like recession, 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 like you watch like CNBC or something like that, right? And it's like cool, like I'm glad, things are looking a little hairy, but also I feel like you guys are just gonna make people scared to spend money, and if people don't spend money, then we do go into a recession. Like that's what happens.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's very
our
true.
economy revolves around people spending money. And then it also revolves around people working. And then the other conspiracy you could put off of that is a declining population. They've been pushing for so long that we got too many people. We got too many people. And it's like, yeah, well, once all these old heads the baby boomers start dying off, we're gonna be hurting. So it's a good thing technology's at least like progressing because we're getting more efficient. But fuck, I don't want the government making my food just so we can eat.
Yeah, 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 just that type of
Fuck.
stuff. It's like it just always gets to a sci-fi horror movie. It really does.
And
It
the
just
aliens
always
are just
ends
sitting
up
up in
there.
their UFOs eating fucking popcorn, just watching us destroy ourselves.
Yeah, because wasn't that like the one of the big moves that happened in North Korea was when they're like, just give us the farms and we'll control the food.
It's happened. The socialist government is it's really enticing, right? Especially when you've already done the work to beat your citizens down, and you're like, hey, we're going to take control of this. We're going to give you better, healthier food. You're not going to have to pay for it. It's all going to be government subsidized. It's going to be super cheap. You know, that all sounds great, right? Well, everybody knows the government's super inefficient, right? So if the government's super inefficient, then they are not going to give you food on time. People end up starving. The food quality's shit. Your health goes to shit. Like, it's a trickle down effect. So the more reliance you have on government, like the government was supposed to be in a democracy founded for the people. It's not supposed to be as handouts for the people, right? It's like it's supposed to be there to help protect our rights, freedoms, and individuality, right? And there's a certain like moral and value standard that we all kind of just agreed upon as a society, right? Murder's bad. Yeah, we kind of agree upon that, right? But we also used to be able to agree to disagree. Or we could fight about it and then maybe we're friends afterwards,
Yeah,
right? But it
most
wasn't
likely
just
your
like,
friends afterwards.
huh?
I feel like most likely your friends afterwards if you're able to fight about it.
Yeah, usually that's what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, usually, but
And,
not. But
but then that all that's changing. Like now it's becoming self reliance. And to your point, we kind of do it to ourselves, right? If people are lazy and they want government handouts, like that's part of the fucking problem. If we keep electing politicians that want more government control, that's what you're gonna get.
yeah, down to like memes that make it funny and like trendy to be like lazy, like just those
Yeah,
things. And then you also have the stuff about how the government doesn't do enough, which they definitely don't. And like and work culture things all kind of combined and get you thinking into, man, I wish the government could just give me everything because I don't want to work.
yeah,
And yeah, it just all this seems like it's almost brainwashing you so subtly all the time to get into this way of thinking.
it is, and we get inundated with it, right? Like everywhere you look, even you control who you follow on Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they'll start putting in suggested people to follow or
Yeah.
suggested reels, or you go to like your search part of it and there's other stuff all over it. It's like you can't escape it. There's the saying, right? You become like a form of like the five people you hang around with the most.
Yep. I think it's six, but
And if you believe in that, like that's also goes for the information that you're consuming too, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's their objective. My kids love to watch Frankie loves to watch YouTube. And it's because it's just mindless dumb shit, right? So we have to be careful like all right, you can watch YouTube, but like let's try to find some at least better videos.
You
And these
know,
videos have they're like dumb. They're like adults making really fucking weird videos, dude. Like these people are weird. Weird. And and they have millions of views, dude. And I'm like, what? Like this is the epitome of where our country's at right now. They're weird.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Jesus. Dude, it's yeah, it's bad. But it's also like I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, you know? I just want
Yeah.
to fix what's here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We
So
can
like
just
I'm not moving to Canada. Like that's not
that's
one of those people.
yeah. It sounds like that place is going weird too.
But
Just
yeah.
extreme woke and stuff.
Yeah, man. I was trying to think of you want to know another fun one?
Yes.
9/11 was an inside job and the towers did not collapse because of the airplanes. They were rigged as in like a demo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I really
as a
like.
structural engineer, like I could see that. It is weird that like how they collapsed just so clean.
Oh yeah. I just really.
Like I could see it if the planes like blew out like the lower half, like if it just came through and took out the bottom like
Oh
clean,
yeah.
right? And then the weight from up above just kind of came down and then kept collapsing on themselves. But like there was not enough weight up at the top to like collapse that whole thing straight down.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's yeah. And I mean if you listen to Alex Jones has a lot more information on this. Like that guy's kind of nutty, but he's fucking been right about a lot of shit, which is crazy.
I know.
Eh, he has. You don't think he
I.
has?
Oh! I said I know, and so like he really has
Oh,
like he's so crazy, but he's been right about
it,
stuff.
yeah, it's insane. It's insane how right he is, and like his mind's got to be fucked. I couldn't imagine.
Oh yeah.
But I think it goes along with like this big agenda, right? Like you start
Mhm.
connecting all of these dots that go in, and it's like, up, we need a war. planted terrorist attacks, like we knew about the potential for these attacks to happen, and we did nothing. And we know right now how many terrorists are coming across the border, and we do nothing. We know what the Taliban's doing with the money we send, and we do nothing.
Right? Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean,
So crazy.
you look at the Palestinian war with Israel, or whatever, and it's like Israel is one of the top like defense military countries like in the world. Like they're super tech heavy and all of that. And you're gonna tell me that they allowed just like paratroopers to just come over into their border of like their known enemy, and it's like there's too many things that don't line up with that.
Yeah. I haven't heard many about this one honestly, but yeah. What?
Yeah, like I don't know a ton of details with it, but it's basically that. Like there was just a lot of question marks, and then you look at the money that we're sending over is going to multiple different countries and who are working with and funding like Hamas, which is doing a bunch of the devastation over there,
Oh,
like
yeah.
in that area, and it basically just points down to we're funding and encouraging these wars. Like we know about it, we know what's going on, and while I'm glad we're not sending a bunch of troops over there, most like we could stop spending money too. Would be great,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. We should
And
use that over here.
yeah, and that goes down to back what you were saying, right? Like the government's not doing enough. It's especially when, right, if you go out to eat and you're spending $200 on a steak dinner and a nice drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
You expect the steak to be good, but also there to be a level of service from like the wait staff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so they could be good, but it's subpar for how much you're spending. And if you were to go to a really like a lesser restaurant and you're going to spend like $30 on a steak and that same service, you'd be like, damn, that was pretty good service, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that was good food, good service for $30. You kidding me? That's kind of where we're at with our taxes. Like we keep having to spend more money. And if it's not income tax, they raise taxes on other stuff, right? So they're getting their money. And then you're like, what am I getting for this? If I could see a benefit, right? If you give money to your HOA and people's houses are maintained, your trash always gets picked up, your roads get paved, you don't have potholes, your HOA, your community landscaping looks good, and all the amenities you get, if you have a pool or whatever, it's like it's always working, everything's kept up. You're like, okay, I still wish it didn't cost that much, but like at least we're getting a benefit for it. Like they're using the money to improve the community. Same thing. The daycare the kids go to, we're spending a little bit more than what the last owners who had it were doing. But these new owners, like, they took a whole week to renovate the whole place. So it looks super nice. They added better functionality, but also separation for the kids, like in different age groups. They brought in like bounce castles. They're doing like water days. They're providing breakfast. And it's like, all right, I'm spending a little bit more, but I feel like I'm at least getting something for it. It's not just like this person's greedy pockets, right?
Yeah. And
Which is where I feel like we're at right now.
yes. And speaking of daycare, did you see any of Katrina's IG posts today by chance?
Mm-mm.
It's just talking about how now if you have two kids, your daycare is more expensive than rent in every state.
We pay, and this is with discounts because Ash kind of helps out a little bit. So they're giving us some discounts. But I want to say if we didn't have discounts for our two kids to go, it's almost $3,000 a month.
Yeah,
It's insane.
yeah, that like just that alone is so crazy. Like that doesn't it doesn't make sense for anyone. And most daycares are nice, but they're still in like a house or something. You know what I
A
mean?
lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Or it's even worse, and they're not in a house, and it's a center, and while I feel like most of the staff really care about the kids, but if they're owned by a bigger company, they are constantly pushing enrollment in numbers. So they max out right up to the code, right, for how many kids can be in these classrooms. Dude, there's no way you should have 24-year-olds for one fucking teacher. That's
yeah,
insane. And so you've
yeah,
got two 4-year-old classrooms, it's 40 kids in like these small centers. I'm like, it it's like a cow farm or a sheep farm, where
yeah,
you just drive in and it's like kid, 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 kid.
yeah. I love Leon's daycare. Just get into that quick. And there's probably 8 kids in like his group, and there's 5 teachers. Just so many of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. See, and that's awesome. Like I like
Yeah.
daycare. Like I think it's been one. Like I would be a terrible stay-at-home dad every day. Like
Oh,
I couldn't do that.
yeah. No. No. No.
So there's that. But also like the kids learn additional like structure. They learn how to play and interact with other kids
Yeah, and
and
be around
stuff like
adults
that.
and stuff too. Just get more comfortable.
Yeah, like our kids are super comfortable going places and doing stuff, and like you can do that as like a stay-at-home parent, but like it's hard. Like you're taking them out to go do things and do all this,
Yeah.
and like a lot of that costs money, and so I don't know. Like if you're really into it, what I hate is the people that are stay-at-home parents and then complain about their what they do so much. I mean, it's the same thing as like somebody who like works a job and then all they do is bitch about their job.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
like, well, just change it. Do something different.
Yeah. And it's just. I'm sorry. I always feel like the government should be better. Or first, I think the government should just like pay for all daycares, but they should still be good. But then I'm like, oh wait, no, the government sucks. So like that's not gonna happen. And the schools should be better. Like every school should be better.
Yeah.
I'm
I want to,
like even
I have a
schools that are.
goal. I have a goal of starting my own school,
Ooh, I like that.
like a private school, but like for all age groups,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of have like a community, like
Oh yeah.
from like daycare, preschool up through like high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, I think you could do some really cool stuff with that. I know it'd be a challenge, but that's what I want to do.
Ooh, nice. That's a good goal.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
gotta get some more money first, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. First things first. Then that could be like almost a like retirement age. Like you do that when you're older, if that's a plan. That's
Yeah, if we're still here.
yeah, true, true. Yeah, hopefully. And then it's wild. We've been talking about conspiracies for a little over an hour, I think, and we still haven't even gotten into like COVID or AI or global warming or like any of these just major
Dude,
crazy
and we
things.
haven't even gone into detail because, like, we don't know a lot of the details. But, like,
Yeah.
when you watch these podcasts, like, no wonder Joe Rogan has to have a 3-hour podcast. And, like, when you
Yeah.
start talking about some of this stuff, like, if you get somebody on who really knows the details, I mean, talk about rabbit holes, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. It's so wild.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna have to make these like a monthly segment, like
Oh,
conspiracy updates but also what are some new ones and stuff because they're always coming out. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah, for real.
I I was gonna say on the job thing. One other thing I wanted to say was when did McDonald's become a career opportunity to like take orders and cook burgers at McDonald's? Like,
Crap.
I always thought fast food was like where high school kids and college kids learned how to work a job and make a little bit of money. And that's why like the food could stay cheap. Why are we paying $20 for a mother to say, I can't afford to feed my kid? Build skills that aren't working at fucking McDonald's.
No wait. Yeah, it's fuck. Yeah, yeah. I feel that, but
Taking orders at McDonald's should not pay for your family of five. Am I wrong?
no. Yeah, yeah. It shouldn't, but it should stop. Stuff shouldn't be so expensive. Like I feel like I always will be like on board with cuts, or I'll think something like that too. Like, well, you shouldn't get paid that much. But then I'm like, well, you shouldn't have to get paid that much. Things should be cheaper. And then I keep on falling back to like the government should be better at what they do. Because like I
Dude,
totally agree that like you shouldn't be able to support your family making it McDonald's, but I guess it would be cool if you could. And if you're a single parent, I just feel like you don't have any time or any extra energy.
yeah, I mean, it kind of comes back to like if like you're not able to take care of a family, you shouldn't have kids, I guess.
Oh, that's
I you know, like do we want to go down that one too? I just
no. I mean,
like you get the people, all right. So
it's like by don't
I
take
hate
care.
it.
Like how? Like what do you mean by don't take care?
Like if
Or can't
you
take care?
so like I get there's special circumstances, right? So caveat it with that. But like
Hmm.
if you have no real education or skills and like you're like I want to have 3 or 4 kids and it's like okay that like that's fine I guess but like how are you going to afford to live like you could say you want things to be cheaper and you could say you want to make more money but in all reality nobody should have to pay you for skills you don't fucking have and the fact that things keep going up in price is the government's fault too. So, I mean, not a lot. We if they're going to keep printing money, and they're just the the purchasing power of a dollar is going down. So, you're just going to have to make more money.
No, yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I get it. If you're a mother and the dad's the breadwinner, and you have 3 kids, and you're the stay-at-home mom, and then he leaves or dies and leaves has no life insurance policy and you're just kind of fucked like I get that. Sure. But that's not usually what's like the case I feel like. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it goes back to like the people that don't they're lazy. They don't want to work hard. They don't want to spend the time like you have a lot of like even parents that they have to work like 3 jobs and it's like that sucks, but could you also not do one of those jobs and like take that same amount of time and build some sales skills and go get a sales job and just
I
fucking hustle?
I don't. Something for most people, unfortunately, like you just don't even. You just want to get your kid food, and then to that, yeah, definitely. But like that all makes sense. I don't think many people that aren't educated and are lazy ever say like, oh yeah, I want to have multiple kids. I think it just kind of happens, and then I feel like a lot of that is could be well how did that happen? Were they not educated? Where were they educated? Why did their school suck? So many factors where if you grow up like in a shitty place, you're more likely to have a kid at like a younger age too. Like just that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
but why is that?
Right, exactly. And then I feel like did that go back to school funding and government stuff and like that type of thing? Or are you
Yeah, I
just
mean,
in a shittier situation to start a lot of the time?
it's hard, right? Because like everybody's gonna attack me like, well, you came from like a little middle class like white family, you have white privilege, right? Like
Hmm.
as a white male, you basically get no fucking credit for anything,
Oh,
right? You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, sure, whatever, that's fine. But and what's encouraging is you're having a lot of like black and Mexican people that have built successful lives and careers that came from shitty situations, like saying it's not okay to use the situation as an excuse. It's definitely harder and it's definitely different, right?
Yeah,
And you definitely become a product of your environment. And
yeah,
so you
and
do have to work harder.
yeah. Then I don't even necessarily mean like race in that situation at all, because this is like a
Sure.
side
Trailer trash.
or just white kids that grow up in the ghettos of wherever too, which would suck in its
Sure.
own ways.
Yeah, and if your parents are deadbeats, whatever race and background you are, like it is harder, right? Because you don't have an example of what it is. But also at the same point, in today's society with technology and social media, like
Yeah, I
you're
feel
able to see examples of how to get
like,
out, right?
yeah,
Which is good.
and I feel like you do see more of like single parents who are making that into like they're making their their message to say, and kids are like making like comedy skits and doing things with their art in not great situations and really being able to make moves.
Yeah.
So I feel like you do see that some too, but
My
yeah.
baseline is basically just like I get it. There's circumstances, right? Like you have to caveat everything you say because otherwise people are going to take it for like that's everything. But it's like in general, like why should I have to spend more money because you feel like you deserve more money for working a job that's not it's a job, not a career. Like it's
Right,
not
yeah,
it was never meant to support your family. Like
right, and yeah,
that's I think where I get frustrated is like if you're working for a company and this is your career and that career doesn't pay you any money, like okay, maybe you have an argument, but also why'd you get a liberal arts degree? You know,
mhm.
you
No,
you
no,
went
no. And I don't even think that you have. I think that some people need a caveat, but I don't think that you have to give one. Because I agree with you 100% too. And that's what's so crazy about the whole, like,
yeah
of that argument is both sides have a good point. Like why I've worked so hard, I've done all this, then all I do is work and sacrifice my time and energy. I don't feel like I should have to pay for people who aren't putting in the same amount of effort, and that's a fair, and that's like I feel like everyone would get on board with that. And
yeah
then in some situations, if the other person's like, "Well, I started here and this sucked," just to be safe is like hard on a daily basis. That's my starting point. So it's harder to get to where you are, if that makes sense. And then,
100%.
oh
It's
yeah, well that's true too. And then you end up being like, I don't really know what to do. What to
it
do. It's
doesn't
so
I
crazy.
mean anymore it does not matter like how much like unless you have legitimate fuck you money, everybody knows how much groceries cost and shit like that. Like, how
Oh,
much does it cost for us to eat? It doesn't matter if you're going to nice places or fast food. Like, it's all gone up, right?
yeah.
And so everybody's feeling it no matter what your lifestyle is. And it's like, fuck, I got to make way more just to afford the same lifestyle that I was, right? And then you get into the endless spiral of now every job has to pay more because people need more to afford other stuff. And if those aren't going up at normal rates, like inflation's 3% and your salary goes up 3%, like that's pretty even. But if inflation's gone up 30% in a couple years and your salary's gone up 10%, you're losing out, right? Like that's just simple economics and math.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what's interesting too is everyone is feeling it,
Yep.
and then I think, well, why the government should be better? Like
Should be.
it just should be like make like if our taxes would you would you be okay if every year you got this cool like breakdown of where all your taxes went and it was to help like shitty schools and playgrounds and communities and help build like drug centers for people like treatment centers and better roads and parks and training for police officers and that stuff. Would you be okay with that?
100%. So
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
there's a weird
Or
there's a
just
weird push that rich people are bad,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Do remember that during COVID, but like
Yeah.
around that time.
So I've some of the best, most like selfless people I've ever met have been the people that have had the most amount of money and most amount of means. Like some of my best clients that I've and homeowners that I've ever worked with are super well off, you know?
Mhm.
And like they treat everybody that comes in their house super well. They're like, if we can do anything for you guys, let us know. Like what people don't realize is one, small businesses like aren't cash cows for the most part.
Oh,
And so they think anybody that owns a business is like loaded. And
yeah,
that's not. Okay, that's
yeah.
not true. So let's
That
just
is a good
start
one.
there.
That is hilarious. Yeah. Oh
And
man,
then
man. They own a bakery. They must be just killing it.
yeah, because my muffin cost me $4.95. They're raking it in, dude. And it's like, no, they're not. They're not. And so there's that, right? And then there's it. Everybody wants the rich people to pay more. By default, they fucking do. Like, if everybody got taxed the same percentage, they will pay more. That's just how numbers work. So when you tax the super high net worth people, it's limiting their ability to hire and scale and develop better products and donate to charities. Most people don't understand how much money these people donate to charities and give back to local communities. And if Amazon gave $50 million to like something, people would be like, they should give 200. It should be way more than. And you're like,
Yeah,
fuck you. You're not giving anybody in your 50 million in your whole fucking life.
yeah.
And
That's a
it
big one that always just make me just like, come on, like
so
you only don't donated this amount. That's like if I donated $5, which I probably also didn't do. And
yeah, it's
it's like,
like
okay.
it's, no. You round it up for charity at your checkout at Walmart. Fuck you.
yeah, yeah, that
And
one
like
time.
I mean,
Yeah, and
donate to
people,
charities. But
yeah, yeah,
that's my point is really successful people are and business builders are generally better at divvying up funds and utilizing capital and money,
oh yeah,
right? And when you get that big, they're trying to build and develop products and technologies. So when you tax the hell out of them, they can't hire as much. They can't donate as much to charity. And if everybody knows that the government is inefficient, then are you still there?
what is? Hey, one sec. Hey, can you hear me?
Well,
Hey, can you see me?